you ever felt a deep sense of loneliness in your life, where you looked at your life and realized that you didn't have any good friend around you? No one was sharing his values with you, no one who shared your same goals, your same vision, who was on his self-improvement journey with you, bro. I was in that exact same situation about 5 years ago when I left my old toxic friend group. And don't get me wrong, it was the best decision of my entire life, probably. But I felt very lonely after that. I was doing my own stuff, wondering what other people were doing or to what parties other people were going, while I was there, alone, at home, feeling lonely, having no real friend, having no one who understood me, who I understood, and who was sharing his self-improvement journey with me. Now, this video will show you how I actually went from that to now being very social, have amazing friends, and have a few, probably, I can actually count my deep friends on one hand, but those ones, totally changed my life. Let me tell you this, when you actually become more social and meet the right people, are around the right people, your life becomes so much better. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the 7 steps I took to get me there. Now, the first step I really needed to go through in order to actually start becoming more social, meet new people, and make deep, good friendships, bro, was realizing that self-improvement was not a solo game. Let me tell you this, because I used to think back then when I left my old friend group that I needed to get away from people to improve myself. I had somehow accepted this lie that, other people were trying to bring me down, and if I wanted to improve and achieve my goals, I had to do it on my own. There is nothing more wrong than that, bro. Being alone is actually harming your progress way much more than you think. It doesn't matter what goal you have, bro. Being around the right people will make it way faster and will make you achieve your goal way faster. And on top of that, even if you're thinking to yourself, I just want to be independent as possible, because nowadays everyone wants to feel like they're doing everything on their own. It's not even possible to be independent. Think about it. Even if you were living in the wild, alone, bro, no one around you, you still were dependent on the sunshine, on animals, on plants, on water to survive. And so being independent, 100% independent in this life, I think is not the real goal to set, because you're connected with everything and everyone anyways. And so what I've personally have realized lately is that being more and better connected is actually the way to go to improve your life, because you are connected anyways, bro. You cannot be totally independent. Now, that is a big belief I had to break in order to actually start socializing. Because until you think to yourself that other people are just trying to get you down, you're never going to make real friendships. The truth is this: a few people are probably not very good for you if you actually want to achieve your goals, you have specific goals. But if you actually surround yourself with the right people, you are going to make so fast improvements. So crucial, bro, so crucial, so crucial. The second thing I personally did that was probably the most important thing you can do was spotting my limiting identity. And so my limiting beliefs, habits, and character traits that were keeping me from making good friendships. Because let me tell you this, you are who you think to be, and your life is always going to reflect the person that you yourself think to be, basically your identity. Now, very often we have identities, we have adopted, character traits, habits, beliefs that are harming our progress, that are keeping us from achieving our goals. And so if you want to achieve your goals, you need to become the person who can achieve them. And it's actually very simple. If you find your true goals, the person you need to become to achieve those goals is yourself. So what you want to realize right now is what beliefs, habits, and character traits are limiting you. And to do that, you first have to identify them. So take out a piece of paper and a pen and write down all your beliefs about socializing, all your habits in general, and also more specifically about socializing, and all your character traits in general, and especially character traits that could impact your social life. You want to do that. So important. So you get to step number 3. Once you have identified all your beliefs, your habits and character traits, you can realize the ones that are harming you. Like for example, one belief that was harming me was to think that socializing, like that self-improvement was a solo game. That's the first belief I tried to break in step number 1. It's one of the most, important ones to break, because until you don't get over that, you will never actually start socializing. But then you probably have some other beliefs, some other habits, some other character traits that are keeping you back from actually achieving your goal of making good, deep friendships. And you want to identify them and redefine them in a positive way. So once you actually have your list of all your beliefs, of all your habits, of all your character traits, you want to rewrite the negative ones in a positive way, so that if you had the wrong belief, for example, self-improvement is a solo game, of rewriting it in a way that actually helps you. So I will achieve my goals actually way faster if I am around the right people. So that might be the new, more positive way to rephrase that belief. And you want to do that with all your limiting beliefs, habits and character traits. And then you have basically a picture of the identity you want to be adopting to achieve your goal, and you just focus on becoming that person. Now, that was step number 3. Step number 4 is actually also very important, and it was to realize in what places the people I wanted to be around were spending their time. I've realized how important this step is, mainly here in Bali, as when I'm actually, going around, it doesn't matter where I am, there are everywhere high quality people. So basically people that share my values, my goals, my visions. And it's crazy, bro. When you're in the wrong places, it would be hard to meet such people. But when you actually are in the right places, it's so easy, bro. They're everywhere. And so if you want to meet people who are in line with your ideals, your goals, your visions, you want to find out places where those people go. Just try to define your own ones and find places in your city, in your country, in your village, in your region, wherever, right? Where those people go. You might think to yourself, and this is another limiting belief, that it's not possible that, in your country, in your, village, in your region, there are no people like that. But there are, bro. There are. Like my closest friends, I actually met them in my region. So it's a little region in Italy where people mainly drink a lot of alcohol and go to parties every single week, and kind of going through the degenerate lifestyle. But still, there are people everywhere who are the way you want to be. So just find the places where those people are more likely to be, and make sure you put yourself in those situations, in those places more often, and you're guaranteed to meet more friends if you actually follow step number 5, which is to talk to random strangers. It doesn't matter where you go, bro. If you're on your own doing your stuff and never talking to anyone, thinking to yourself that people will jump in your arms, you're never going to meet anyone new, right? It's obvious. And what I've personally seen is that it's really valuable. It has totally changed my life when I actually started to talk to random people about random stuff. It didn't matter if I had a small question, just out of nothing, just asking something, just making a compliment, just saying something stupid, just making a joke. Didn't matter what I had in my mind, just talking to people wherever I went. That habit, bro, totally changed me, because it got me to actually get to know people better. There has been a guy who I've actually helped with this exact problem, and he had a very limiting belief. He thought that small talk was nonsense, that small talk was just a waste of time. And so that's another reason why I told you to actually identify your limiting beliefs. Until you don't eliminate them, you won't be able to progress. So it's really important, really important. I know I'm stressing this point, but really important. Now, what he used to think was that small talk was bullshit. He was a waste of time because he wanted to make deep relationships, but small talk was just nonsense, was wasting his and the other person's time, and was not adding any value. Now think about it. On one side, it actually makes sense, but on the other side, that belief was limiting him from actually making new deep relationships. Because at the end of the day, getting in the conversation is like diving in the ocean. To get into the deep water, you have to start, from the top. You cannot just get from underneath up. So when you want to meet someone new and get into deep relationships, you have to start with small talk. It's literally as simple as that. And so that belief was actually keeping him from talking to random people. And as said, it's a very valuable thing to just, wherever you go, talk to random people and then just see if they're in line with your ideals, with your goals, with your visions. If there are people who you want to build a more deep relationship with or not. But it all starts with some small talk. It's just simple as that. Now the sixth step, it really is crucial, bro. If you want to be, better able to navigate social situations, is to read a book that I've personally been reading since 2 years. I'm not even joking. Every single day, since 2 years now, I've been reading one chapter of the book and trying to implement it throughout the day. I wouldn't do that if it was a bullshit book, and it's such a powerful tool, bro. That's why I'm telling you, most people are not really that good, including me in the past, bro, 100%, be honest, at dealing with others. When you talk to random people and you feel like you're not able to keep a conversation, you feel like the other person is not interested in what you say, you feel like people don't have a great time talking to you, it is very probably because you're not following some common rules of human relationships. And reading a book, it's called How to Influence and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, totally changed my life. As said, since 2 years, every single day, I read a chapter and I try to implement it throughout the day, bro. It is so powerful, literally so powerful. And if you want to change your social life, read that book. Make it your Bible, read it every single day, try to implement its lesson every single day. And you will see that within a few months, you will be so much better at having conversations and actually getting into deeper conversations and deeper relationships with people. People, when they first read the title of the book, they think it's all about, you want to become like a sneaky person, someone who influences people, but it's totally not that way. That book is just about improving your social skills in general. And if you don't want to be there feeling awkward, like you don't know what to say, like the other person doesn't want to talk with you, and you feel like you're not really good and smooth in conversations and with people, then I highly recommend you to go and read it. So powerful, bro. So powerful. So powerful. Now, there is a last bonus step I want you to follow if you actually want to be around high quality people, the people who are where you want to get. Now it's very simple. Work on yourself. I'm sure you've already heard about this a million times, but it is very important because think about it. You don't want to be around losers, right? You don't want to be around people who you feel like are pulling you down, who make your day worse and who don't help you, who are pulling you away from your goals. Now you have to realize that successful people and people in general feel the same way. They don't want to be around people that they feel like are drowning them, are pulling them away from their goals, are making them feel worse and are not making their life any better in any way. You have to realize this. A relationship is kind of like an exchange. If you don't bring any value to the table, why would that person want to be around you? They could just, gift you their time and their attention, but most people, especially when they have specific goals, they want to be around people who get them or who help them get there. It's literally as simple as that. And so if you want to become more valuable as a person, work on yourself, work on your goals, become more like the person who you want to be, and the people who are in line with that person will want to spend their time with you. It is very simple. I know it's very simple, but right now, if you actually follow these steps, if you actually realize that self-improvement is not a solo game, that being around people and socializing will make your whole journey way better and way faster, bro. That secondly, if you actually realized the parts of your identity that are limiting you from being social and making good relationships, you actually restated them and recreated your new identity and actually start becoming that way. If you then fourth step Also, you know, figure out the places where the people you want to be around spend their time. And fifth, you go in those places and speak to people randomly, right? You're not afraid of what other people will think of you. And by the way, that's another limiting belief you want to eliminate. Sixth step, you actually improve your social skills by reading the book I suggested. And by the way, you have the free link, free PDF version of it in the description down below. And seventh step, you actually build yourself, your character, you achieve your goals, you become the way you want to be. You will become very social, meet many amazing people, have amazing friendships, and on top of that, have a few really deep ones that you can really say to be real friends. People who you really trust, who really trust you, who you know deeply, who know you deeply, who share your values, your visions, and who are growing together with you. Now I feel, to be really honest, that's the best part. You know, if I could sacrifice all my, you know, more shallow relationships with people I know who are amazing and everything, for the few ones that are actually deep and good relationships, I would 100% sacrifice all the more shallow ones. 100%, without even thinking about it. But anyways, if you have some further questions, some further struggles, some further problems that you want my personal help with, doesn't matter if it is about, you know, socializing or any other, you know, aspect of your self-improvement journey, you can get my personal help for free by booking a coaching call. You have the link in the description down below. Just another way for me to help you out. If you don't want to, don't mind, forget about it, but just wanted to let you know that you have that possibility. Now, I really thank you a lot for your time and your attention, that you came to this point of the video, and I hope that this video actually helped you out, because I know that being there, feeling lonely, not having anyone around you who's sharing his self-improvement journey with you is kind of like sad, you know. I remember exactly how I used to feel, and it wasn't such an amazing, you know, feeling. So these were the 7 steps that got me out of that situation, and I'm sure that if you actually start following them, you will get results, guaranteed, bro. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like and to subscribe to not miss on my future videos, and to actually let me know that you like the video, obviously also to boost the algorithm, but I don't need to tell you about that. Thank you again, hopefully helped you out. Wish you an amazing day and see you very soon, hopefully. Ciao.